Hey, awesome seventh graders. I want to make this as least awkward as possible. I am coming to you from the seventh grade science classroom via Mr. B's class. Came in to make some copies today. I just want to tell you guys I miss you all. And if you need to reach out at all, make sure you guys are using the email. I mean, I'm constantly on my email responding to stuff. I mean, if you guys have any questions or just to talk, I've had a lot of students reach out to me just to talk. I have students sending me funny memes. I'll maybe send a meme back. Um, but use that, okay? Use that email, and I hope you all are doing good and keeping busy and getting some classwork done, but also relaxing and spending some quality family time. I'm gonna put that email right here, right below me, with my awesome video editing software I have. This video, I'm just gonna kind of walk you through the gizmos that you guys are gonna be completing this week. I know there's probably gonna be some more questions on it. You guys feel free to reach out to me via Google Classroom or my email for any questions on these gizmos. But like I said, hope you all are doing well. I miss you. Weather's starting to change right now. I wish I could take you all outside and have a good time and learn outside, but it is what it is, and we're doing what's best for our country right now. So as long as you keep that in mind and you're taking care of yourself, giving yourself breaks, doing things that you enjoy, I think we'll make it through, and I think we'll be back in the classroom in no time. So hang in there, and please reach out, guys. I miss you, and I want to hear from you. Take it easy.
All right, guys, let's do it. So, how I always get to gizmos is I just type in gizmos on Google. Make sure you go to this Explore Learning one. I'm going to log in and enroll. Um, if you guys do forget your username or password, just shoot me an email or even message me on Google Classroom. I'll get back to you like pretty quickly. I mean, every time you guys email me, it goes right to my phone, which I always have with me. So just let me know, and I will give you it. You're gonna log in. The first one I'm gonna go over, if it ever loads, is your food chain gizmo, which is gonna be Monday, Tuesday next week. Um, so the week of April 6th, Monday, Tuesday. This is what you're gonna do. So the big thing about these gizmos, both gizmos we're giving you guys this week, is that when you change something in the ecosystem, everything else gets affected. Okay, now they're either decrease or they increase depending on what organism you change. Um, so this is a pretty common ecosystem, pretty simple one, or food chain, pretty simple one, where you have your hawk, snakes, rabbits, and your producer, which is grass. Okay, so I'm going to do simplest way possible. I'm going to remove right there, removes. Um, and I'm going to play it. Now, keep in mind, every second is months, okay? So you're going to see all these organisms get affected. So I'm going to stop it at 12, which would be 1 year, okay? And as you can see on your screen, all of these organisms get affected, okay? So obviously, there's going to be more snakes, okay? There's going to be more snakes because um, the hawks eat snakes, okay? And if there's not as many hawks, more snakes are going to survive, okay? So if I play it, you'll see those snakes go way up. Now, eventually the ecosystem stabilizes, what we call stabilizes, where it gets back to normal, okay? But a lot of times it does take a long time for that to happen, okay? Now, I'm just going to play it for a couple months. You have a table, a bar chart, and a graph, okay? That'll kind of show you the organisms and how they're changing. Okay, now if I do a bunch of stuff to this ecosystem, change it up a bunch, you're going to see a little bit more, complex graph. Okay, a lot more changes that are going on. But eventually, like I said, this is the line of stabilization. They're eventually going to go on this line and kind of even out. Now, a lot of times it does take over a year to do that. Okay, now what's cool about this gizmo is that you can change it and actually disease some of the organisms that are in here. Okay, so I'm just going to put disease snakes, and then we're going to reset it, and we're going to kind of see how everything else gets affected. Okay, obviously the snakes are going way down. They're diseased. This is probably a pretty detrimental, pretty harmful disease, and they go way down. Okay, so play around with it. The gizmo, we're giving you guys 2 days to do this, and honestly, it's only about 3 pages. And some of the pages might only take you 10 to 15 minutes. So play around with it, have some fun with it, just see how everything is getting affected. I will tell you, if you remove the grass out of the ecosystem, everything else is going to go way, way, way down. Okay, because that is really the producers produce energy into the ecosystem. Okay, so this stuff, all the other organisms are going to get way affected by this. Okay, now eventually the grass is going to go back up. Um, but everything else they died off. Okay, so there's no more there to reproduce. They can't reproduce with each other, and they die off. And the grass is sitting there and it's chilling. It's doing real well because nothing's there eating it. Okay, so have fun with it. If you guys have any questions, just make sure you shoot me an email, and that's it. Guys, the second gizmo we're going to have you guys do on Wednesday, Thursday, you have a choice to either do the forest ecosystem, or there's also a prairie ecosystem. Now, I'm going to show you guys the forest ecosystem. I think it's a little easier to kind of visualize, a little more simple. But if honestly, if like the prairie ecosystem does interest you guys, do it. All right. It's the same concept. Again, when you change something in the ecosystem, everything else gets affected. So I will tell you guys, when I do click on these gizmos, for some reason my mic turns off like really quick. I don't know if it's because the clicking is so loud and you just can't hear me. But if I do like cut in and out, that is why. All right, so I'm gonna launch it up. Okay, so now we have a forest ecosystem. This is one, again, that you could probably see, maybe not in Ohio, maybe not in our part of Ohio, just because there are bears in here. But if you go down south a little bit, maybe in West Virginia, you would see this ecosystem. Okay, so what I'm first going to do is I'm going to affect the producer again. So I'm going to take some trees out. Now, if you guys can guess what gets affected, take a couple seconds to guess what's going to get affected. All right, so actually the deer is going to get affected, okay? And when the deer gets affected, everything else is going to get affected, okay? The deer are actually going to decrease because they do eat trees. They're herbivores, and there's not as much food for them. So now there's a lot of competition between them. There's not enough food, so they're going to actually die off and decrease a little bit, okay? So I'm going to advance the deer about, let's say 15 times, okay? Now, I see this every single year I do this gizmo, is that when you first get to this screen right here, your data, it looks like the deer are increasing, right? But if you look at the years, it's actually year 15 through 19. So if I go back to year 0, you do see the decrease, okay? But what happens is the trees start to grow back, okay? And there's more for them. And the deer start increasing again. They start doing that stabilization, kind of what I talked about in the last video, okay? So you do see the deer decrease. Now, everything else in the ecosystem is going to get changed because of that too. Okay, like I said, when you affect, if you take a producer out, all of the other living organisms are going to decrease. Okay, because that produces energy. They no longer have as much energy. Okay, so you can see that with the bears too. Okay. Um, like I said, the data on this one, I think it's a lot easier. You can go over to line graph. I think the pictograph is so much better just because I'm a visual person. I know a lot of you guys are too. Okay, so make sure you reset it if the gizmo asks you to. You can do separate conditions like hunting allowed. Okay, obviously, if they're hunting deer, the deer are going to decrease, which again affects everything else in the ecosystem. Okay, logging is basically just cutting down trees. Okay, when you do that, it affects everything else in the ecosystem. You know, that's why this stuff is so important to learn about, is because these things happen a lot, and that's why we have hunting licenses and what we call sometimes like deer season, where you can only hunt deer for a couple weeks or just a short period of time. Okay, because they don't want the whole ecosystem to be affected by that. Okay, and that's why cutting down trees, a lot of times it affects and sometimes even kills off a lot of these ecosystems. Okay, because they're cutting down trees, they're taking out of the energy of the ecosystem. Um, there are mushrooms on here too, and what's cool about this is mushrooms are actually decomposers. They break down dead material to get their energy. So I'm gonna kind of leave that one up in the air. I want you guys to kind of figure out what happens with the mushrooms. Okay. But like I said, you guys have Wednesday, the Thursday, and Thursday to do this. It's about 3 pages long. If you guys have any questions, make sure you shoot me an email. And I will be available really 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Thanks.